Dr. K. Parinivelu, Professor at the Center for Environmental Studies and Director of Center for Climate Change and Disaster Management, Anna University, Chennai. He obtained his PhD degree from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, Chennai. He worked as project officer for a brief period at IIT Madras and moved on to the Center for Environmental Studies, Anna University in 1992. He was a visiting professor at Chungam National University, South Korea during 2007. He has been teaching courses on environmental chemistry, environmental pollution control, and instrumental methods of analysis since last 27 years. He has guided 75 students for ME and MSc, 4 MPhil, 2 MS, and 15 PhDs. He has published 135 papers in journals and 90 in conference and symposiums. He has received several awards in national and international levels.
Welcome to the lecture series on atmospheric chemistry. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the particles, how it is formed, as well as gaseous pollutants and their effects on the environment and to the people we are going to discuss. First, we will see what is particle. And this particulate matter are important constituents of the atmosphere, and particularly in the troposphere, and these particles have a diameter ranges from 0.001 micrometer to 10 micrometer. That is a dimension of this particle present in the atmosphere. An aerosol particle from natural sources have a diameter usually less than 100 micrometer, and these particles originate from sea spray, smoke, dust, and the evaporation of organic materials from vegetation, etc. They cause this aerosol formation in the atmosphere. Other typical particles of natural origin in the atmosphere from bacteria, fog, pollen grains, and volcanic ash. So, if we look at it, the particulate matter may be consisting of both organic and inorganic, and both types are very important atmospheric contamination, whether it is organic based one or inorganic based one. So, these particles usually lies in this diameter range, one of the very important constituent, and causes a lot of worry their presence in the environment. Let us see one of the significance. The preliminary introductory part also I mentioned about the importance of atmosphere. There also I highlighted about the particles presence in atmosphere. Okay. The presence of these particulate matter in the atmosphere significantly affect the Earth's radiation balance. This is one of the important aspects. They affect the atmospheric particle on the heat flux of the atmosphere. Actually, it depends on particle size and composition. Okay. It depends on both. For example, large dark particles tend to absorb light, thus warming the Earth atmosphere. Usually, the soot particle is the one are considered as next to carbon dioxide responsible for warming of global things. Okay. Carbon dioxide, we know already in the previous class we discussed about global warming, and here again I want to make a mention, next to carbon dioxide these type of large dark particles like soot particle present in the atmosphere, they absorb light and they again causes warming of atmosphere or promoting global warming, these large dust particles. Whereas in contrast, very small particles like ammonium sulfate, regardless of color and composition, tend to scatter light, thus increasing the albedo of the atmosphere, that is causing a cooling effect. So, these particles present in the atmosphere based on nature and size, they have both warming as well as cooling effect. And importantly, the particles in the atmosphere size with a size from 0.1 to 1 micrometer cause a serious health hazards. Suppose we inhale these particles, they go inside our body and causes a lot of health issue. And these particles penetrate the lungs, blocking and irritating the air passage and have toxic effect. This is one of the very important issue of particulate matter present in the atmosphere, especially the respirable particulate dust. And soot particle again to mention pose particular problem because they can absorb significant amounts of toxic chemical on the air and irregular surfaces, because the surface area of this small tiny particle is very enormous. They have very good absorptive power, and they absorb not only mere carbon soot particle, it contains a lot of absorbed toxic constituents in this. For example, coal fires release soot as well as sulfur dioxide, and in foggy condition the resulting aerosol can combine with the soot to produce a toxic smog with serious health consequences. Again, just in this connection, I want to mention our temple. We used to have the habit of lighting camphor. This also proved, because inside a small room, when it is burned, not much oxygen is available. These camphor particles are converted into incomplete combustion soot particle with the carbon main source, and in which lot of polyaromatic hydrocarbons, PH compounds, okay, and they are all formed during the burning of camphor inside, and it is normally known as pyrosynthesis, like a PH, polyaromatic hydrocarbon formation, in which these toxic PH compounds gets easily absorbed onto this, and these soot particles create again lot of health related issue. Cancer, PH also known to cause cancer. So, in view of this, and many temples it is all burnt nowadays. Burning camphor is banned. These atmospheric particles again somehow do some good things also. They provide nucleation bodies for the condensation of atmospheric water vapor, thereby exerting significant influence upon weather and air pollution phenomena. That is, they act as a nucleation for bringing rain also, and they are also very much involved in several chemical interactions taking place in the atmosphere, such as neutralization reactions taking place in water droplets, where in which alkali like calcium oxide particles or ammonia, if it is emanated, they can interact with acidic substances like sulfur dioxide or oxides of nitrogen and get neutralized. This is also happening, neutralization in the water vapor, and they provide active catalytic surface upon which heterogeneous chemical reaction can also occur. Because of these type of toxic metal, they behave as a catalyst and bring out degradation in a catalytic way of toxic organic things. Let us see some of the atmospheric particles present in the atmosphere, how they are termed or classified. For example, aerosol is a more frequently used one. This is again a colloidal sized atmospheric particle, as I told you before, consisting of solid and liquid aerosols. And then condensation aerosol, that is formed by condensation of vapor or a reaction of gases, that is a condensed aerosol. And dispersion aerosol is another one, that is formed by grinding of solid, atomization of liquid, or dispersion of dust, etc., comes under the category of dispersion aerosol. We have other terms like fog, that is a term denoting high level of water droplets. Okay. Haze is another term used in this connection, denotes decreased visibility due to the presence of these particulate matter. And then mist is again connected with this one, that is a liquid particulate matter, presence of liquid particulate. Smoke, that is particles formed by incomplete combustion of fuel, is leading to the smoke particle rich in carbon. So, these are the certain terms normally we use in describing the atmospheric particles. Now, let us see how these particles are formed in the atmosphere. And particulates originate from a wide variety of source and processes, ranging from simple grinding of bulk matter to complicated chemical and biochemical synthesis. Okay. So, it is not a single, it is a multiple source, as simple grinding of bulk material will also eliminate or emanate this particulate matter. And at the same time, we have complicated chemical and biochemical synthesis also responsible for this particle formation. And for the most part, aerosol particle consisting of carbonous material, metal oxides, dissolved ionic species and ionic solids, everything is a component of this particles present in atmosphere. And one of the important thing is metal oxide constitute a major class of inorganic particles in the urban air especially, and these are formed whenever fuels containing metals are burnt. Ultimately, the metal may be associated in organic form, but during burning everything is burnt and the metals associated with the organics gets converted into their respective metal oxide and comes out as a particulate matter. For example, just see the example given here, pyrite containing lignite, if it is burnt, this is one of the constituent of this. So, during the combustion of this lignite, what happens is we get carbon is burnt, we get energy out of it. At the same time, the pyrite, there is nothing but iron sulfide associated with this lignite also burnt, and that is converted to iron oxide, that comes out as a dust. So, the dust coming from the burning process actually may contain iron oxide as one of the material. And organic vanadium and residual fuel oil is converted to particulate vanadium oxide. Okay. And part of this calcium carbonate in the ash fraction of the coal is also converted into calcium oxide. For example, calcium carbonate, when it is heated, gets converted into calcium oxide, that is also emanated through the chimney. And sulfur dioxide also emanated from various industrial activities. Already we discussed this, and the moment it in the atmosphere under favorable condition, it is gets converted into sulfuric acid mist. Okay. Sulfur dioxide reacts with the molecular oxygen, converts it into sulfuric acid. Under favorable condition, this comes out as a mist, again a particulate matter. So, we have acid mist, inorganic metal oxide, vanadium oxide and iron oxide. These type of particulate matter consisting of metal oxide and acid mist is one of the constituent normally comes because of the burning. And the direct reaction of sulfur dioxide usually with the molecular oxygen is very slow, and usually the oxidation is carried out by more reactive species, particularly the hydroxyl radical. Already we discussed through photochemical reactions in the atmosphere, hydroxyl radical, that is OH dot, are formed. These OH radical are very reactive, easily convert the sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide. Ultimately, it will be condensed as sulfuric acid mist, or under favorable condition, wherever there is a possibility of ammonia is there, it may react with this and gets converted to salt formation through neutralization reaction. Ammonium sulfate may be formed, and this comes out droplet. And also sulfuric acid may react with calcium oxide emitted from thermal power station or something, or various other industrial operation. If there is a possibility of calcium oxide and sulfuric acid, again neutralization reaction will take place and calcium sulfate will be formed, that comes out as a droplet because of the quantity is very very small, and formed as a droplet ultimately comes to the ground. Also, in addition to this inorganic, we have organic particles formation also reported. A significant portion of organic particulate matter is produced by internal combustion engine, and complicated process that involve pyrosynthesis. As I told you before, the camphor burning leads to formation of PAH compound. Okay. So, similarly, the vehicle of internal combustion in which very hot condition is there, fuel is burned, and in that condition there is a possibility of pyrosynthesis of these type of toxic organic compound. One such a type of polyaromatic hydrocarbon formed is benzpyrene, which is a highly carcinogenic compound. Okay. It is a 5-membered benzene ring fused together, and this benzpyrene is found to be present in the transport road dust. They have analyzed benzpyrene is there, and camphor also they have noticed this benzpyrene, and this is one of the proved carcinogen. And this is originally, if you look at it, it is not present in the material whatever used, whether camphor or fuel used for burning, but whenever conditions are favorable or incomplete combustion is possible, definitely through the process of pyrosynthesis, that is the temperature is favorable, it may lead to this type of PAH compounds, which is very dangerous, that should be avoided. Not only that, and soot is there that easily take up this PAH compounds because of the very high absorptive power makes it much more toxic. So, what are the issues related to this particle? Okay. These particle matters, if they are present, okay, main thing is reduction and distortion of visibility. Normal visibility, especially those who are riding cars and bikes, etc., normal visibility will not be there. This is a problem especially in India during December, Jan, etc. This become worst visibility. That is why Government of India also now they have made lighting is must even in daytime to avoid this problem of accident and other thing due to the poor visibility due to these particles present in the atmosphere through haze or fog formation. And many times also we have seen in the newspaper and TV channels, many aircraft during this time cancelled because of the poor visibility. Again, the particular emission of this particle and conditions are favorable to form fog, etc. And atmospheric particles inhaled through the respiratory tract may damage health. Okay. As I told you, soot particle where the PAH is one of the example for this. There is a possibility we can inhale this, and definitely with the PAH compound soot particle goes inside, the problem that is health effect is much more severe. And these particles matter influence also influence upon weather and air pollution phenomena, okay, including the visibility, weather pattern, and they, as I mentioned before, these kind of soot particles also responsible for global warming. When the humidity is low, water is lost from this droplet and a solid aerosol conversion is possible. In atmosphere, wherever liquid droplet under favorable condition where humidity is low, water may be lost from this liquid droplet. Ultimately, there is a conversion into a solid aerosol is also taking place in the atmosphere. And if you look at generally, atmospheric particulate matter present as a wide diversity of chemical composition consisting of organic matter, nitrogen compounds, sulfur compounds, and several metal, especially as a metal oxide, and radionuclides are also present in especially in the polluted urban environment. So, we have seen all this to make us what are the general sources, we can say generally we have seen then and there multiple sources of how these particulate matters are formed, including inorganic and organic. Some of the general things to generalize it, fuel combustion in power generation is the one source and which particulate matters are emanating, and also fuel combustion in road transport is also responsible for emitting particulate matter. Incineration, wherever waste or incinerator, definitely there again we can get lot of particulate matter emanating from this, from their chimneys. And also in the roadside, tire and brake wear also contribute towards the particulate matter contribution. Even the road wear and tear also causes the particulate matter emanating from this, and natural road dust also contribute. All this, if you look at the road natural one dust material mainly consisting of silica. So, fuel combustion, either from power plant or road transport, anything, whatever it is, fuel is wherever burnt, not only gaseous pollutant, and the impurities present as a metal and other things are emanated as particulate matter. And apart from this fuel combustion, tire and brake wear, road wear, and the natural dust present on the roadside also contribute particulate matter and these things. But we have to analyze any situation. If particulate matter is more, why it is more? In India nowadays, this is becoming a major emission source. Particulate matter presence is one of the issue. Many cities, major cities, where particulate matter emission is reported as high, whatever the standard, we are going to look at it later, but many cities are exceeding the limit in terms of particulate matter. That has to be taken care. Now we will see some of the gaseous pollutant emission and their effects. The classification, we have seen particulate and gaseous. Particulate completed. Gaseous, some of these things, if you look at it, some air pollutant constitute an important overall component of both outdoor and indoor, these gaseous air pollutant. Not only outdoor, even inside home also, we during cooking and other activities we generate lot of gaseous air pollutant. Okay. And generally the main issue is health effects of these pollutants, especially they lead to a respiratory disease. Okay. Especially any patient having asthma issue, these gaseous pollutant, particularly nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide, makes the problem very severe. And aggravation of the existing respiratory and cardiac condition is one of the major issues due to this gaseous air pollutant, both indoor and outdoor. So, we have to be very, very careful, because both cardiac problem and respiratory is making it very, very severe. And some of the gaseous pollutant to mention as one important thing as carbon monoxide, CO, which is already I mentioned before, main source as burning of wood and fuel. Wherever incomplete combustion, not sufficient oxygen is there, carbon monoxide is one of the problem. And this is a major things, including about roadside transport. Wherever traffic or junction point is there, carbon monoxide is reported to be very, very high and leads to a lot of health issue. Why? What are the main problem? Carbon monoxide have the ability to bind with our hemoglobin in the blood. Okay. These effects are due to the formation of a compound called carboxyhemoglobin in the red blood cells. Okay. The moment normally breathing, the hemoglobin reacts with the molecular oxygen, normal oxygen, and forms oxyhemoglobin. The moment the concentration of carbon monoxide is high, and this carbon monoxide may react with this hemoglobin and converts the oxyhemoglobin into carboxyhemoglobin molecule, and this is the effect. This leads to start with headache, and consequent continuous exposure may make it even severe also. So, one has to be very, very careful whenever they are out or in a congested place. If headache starts, definitely carbon monoxide presence in that area, in the traffic area, may be the main source. So we have to be very, very careful. We have to get out of the place immediately, because this reaction can be easily reversed. The carbon monoxide reaction with the carboxyhemoglobin can be easily reversed. That is, if you supply more oxygen, you can get back things. So things will be normal. And I want to yeah, there is a very important irreversible reaction also hemoglobin has, that is the reaction with the cyanide. Cyanide, suppose if it reacts with the hemoglobin, that reaction is irreversible, whereas carboxyhemoglobin reactions can be easily reversed by supplying oxygen. Sulfur dioxide is another important air pollutant. Again, if you look at the source as burning of fuel containing high amount of sulfur is a main culprit for the origin of sulfur dioxide in air. That is possible for fuels for domestic heating, power generation, and motor vehicle. Wherever you use any kind of fuel for burning purpose, we ought to be very, very careful with the sulfur content. Sulfur with less than 1% is considered to be good, and if you use more than 1%, definitely the amount of sulfur dioxide is going to be very high in that region. Again, the effects due to the sulfur dioxide are health. Again, it affects the health. Apart from acid rain contribution, affect the respiratory system and the function of the lung, and causes irritation of the eye also. These are some of the issues with high amount of sulfur dioxide in air. And inflammation of the respiratory tract causes coughing, mucus secretion, and aggravation of asthma, chronic bronchitis, and make people more prone to infection of the respiratory tract. So it affects the respiratory system of a person having some kind of illness. Cardiac disease and mortality increase on these days with the exposure to high amount of sulfur dioxide. And as I mentioned before, this is again main component of acid rain, causing damage to the deforestation and material damage. Another important air pollutant is oxygen nitrogen, particularly nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide, and these are the major source of anthropogenic emission. Again, wherever combustion process is there, definitely we cannot control this oxygen nitrogen. At least in the case of previous ones, that is sulfur dioxide, we use the fuel with low sulfur, definitely less emission of sulfur dioxide, whereas here it is very, very difficult, because we use for burning the oxidant is air. As long as we are going to use air, the emission of nitrogen dioxide is going to be there. So this has to be paid attention. And the symptoms associated with the nitrogen oxides are again bronchitis and asthmatic in children. They are affected most, and the concentration is high. Definitely it is going to affect them very much. And reduced lung function also is another phenomenon noticed with exposure to oxides of nitrogen. So to summarize, the main health related issue for all this particulate matter or sulfur dioxide or benzpyrene, oxides of nitrogen, everything is disease related to a respiratory tract, okay, and cardiac problem. This is a main thing which impact the health of the individual, affecting the respiratory problem and cardiac problem by exposure to this air pollutant, particulate matter, sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, ozone, etc. With this, we complete this session on particulate matter and gaseous pollutant, their formation, their effects we discussed. With this, we come to the end of this session. Thank you.